going on, YouTube? Tone M here. About to do a video on a favorite of mine, pistol-wise, and I actually have had a lot of fun with this gun. And not only is it fun, but it's also one of my most intriguing pistols. I hope to collect more, but for now, this is one of those. When I bring it to the range, people look at it and go, "Oh man, what what is that?" Or "What does it do?" All that good stuff. And I've done videos on this before, firing it and like a quick kind of like unboxing kind of deal. But I never really like talked about it. And the pistol I'm referring to is the one in my hand. Obviously, it's the 11-inch barrel, side-by-side, double barrel derringer made by Lynette, and it is chambered in 410 3-inch shotgun shell and 45 long Colt. And it's just an I mean, it's not an amazing weapon, but to me it's an intriguing weapon. And like I said, it's been a lot of fun. It intrigued me because it's a derringer that they went ahead and popped a rifled extended barrel to it, and I don't know, it's just kind of cool. You can also get a stock for this that'll add another couple, about maybe 8-10 inches, and it folds up under the pistol when you're not using it, and when you want to use it, you pop it out, and it's like a buttstock. Actually, it is a buttstock, and it just gives you that little prop, because essentially, yes, it's a derringer, but it's a sawed-off shotgun. If you think about it, it's a small pocket shotgun because of the 410 shotgun shell. It's not a very accurate weapon. You figure for the extended barrels and the rifling that it'd be fairly accurate, but it's not a long range weapon. It is still a fun weapon. My only couple cons to it, or dislikes, would be I wish the handle was a little longer, because when you grab it, all you get is that one middle finger up under it, and then the rest just kind of curve under, and then because of that, your middle finger sits right there, right under the trigger guard, which is basically what's supposed to happen with any pistol. However, this is very rigid metal that they used. I mean, it's not exactly a polished, expensive pistol. This is, a bunch of steel slapped together, and there you go. I mean, they sell these in kits, so you can, put them together yourself, and you have to weld it and everything. I bought this all assembled, but going back to holding it, the reason I say the rigid metal sucks is because, again, your finger is right up under that trigger guard, well, lack thereof trigger guard, the back of the trigger. When you pull the trigger, the force of the kick when the gun's fired smacks into that knuckle so bad that after about maybe, I don't know, 6 rounds, which is about shooting it 3 times basically, because you go to shoot it one time, you shoot both barrels, so 3 more times, 6 shots. You got a bruised finger, and I mean, it doesn't like kill the day, but it's more of an annoyance. So that was one con that I wish they kind of thought about when they made these. Was the handle length, and this part here, the back of the trigger. Another con that goes with the handle and holding it is because of how you have to hold it. You either put your middle finger knuckle right up on it, or you put the back of the just behind the knuckle under it, it makes it kind of hard to squeeze that trigger. And the trigger isn't exactly a light, crisp trigger. I mean, it's got, I really couldn't tell you the pound of force you have to put on it, but I think more of the weight feel of pulling the trigger is because of the odd kind of holding towards it. It makes it feel like it's got a heavy trigger, but that could be just me. I know my brother and a couple of the people that fired it kind of said the same thing. They kind of had trouble pulling the trigger, and then the trigger is kind of sharp too. And it's just another piece of metal that they slapped in there. But beside all that, it is a very fun pistol, and it's pretty solidly built. I mean, looking at it, this is the original structure of the Derringers. This is basically, you take the barrel off, and that's your base structure of all the Lynette Derringers. This is the iconic frame that'll be on every Derringer that Lynette makes, even up to their what's that? You shoot it in the air and signals for help. Flare gun. They also make a flare gun. It's like a orange and red colored, you know, the usual colors for a flare gun, but they make one. And again, the frame is exactly the same on all of them. Same handle. It doesn't matter. I mean, they'd probably, if they could, make a damn 12 gauge version if they were still in business and keep the freaking same handle. You imagine that? I mean, it'd be fun, but oh, it'd probably break your finger. But besides that, all the barrels are roughly, now when I say barrels, the actual Derringer barrels are roughly all the same length. It's about a standard 4-inch, 3-inch kind of barrel, and it stops here and goes all the way back. And now for all those that are watching and that are safety conscious and all that, it is empty. I don't do any of my videos with any live rounds in it, or any of my guns. One, because I don't want to end up like those other poor folks on the stupid people with guns and all that. But anyhow, that is basically the normal length of every Derringer that they make. It's about 3-4 inches. They all do the same thing. They all break down just like that. And how they have it set up is a little unique too. Most Derringers have a, put that down a little bit. Most Derringers have like a little latch or a button, like a quick release. This one actually, this one and pretty much all the other models, same concept. It looks like a button, but it's not. You actually have to grab what looks like a button, pull it back to you, and that's what breaks it down. I'll go ahead and turn it around and show you again. Pull it back to you, and it breaks it down. There is no ejector, so you have to pry the bullets out once they're done, the spent casings. And if you have decently long fingernails that are strong, you can pop them out with your fingers. They don't even really, they have like a slight divot where you can kind of get your finger in there. If not, I always recommend bringing yourself a long little skinny stick and just pop it through the front and knock them out. I've had to do that a couple times from expansion of the 45 long Colt rounds. But other than that, it's a great fun pistol. My friend refers to it as a pirate gun. He says it reminds him of the old pirate pistols, and I kind of agree with that. It kind of looks like one of those, except a lot more modern, and you don't have to muzzle load it Another cool thing about it being that it's a double barrel is the selector. It starts out right there. I don't know how good you can see it, but it's that little triangle right there. And what you do is swap it over to either side. When it's in this direction, which let's see, if you're looking at me, you're looking at the back of it, so I think that would be it's pointing to the left. So okay, it's literally a diamond shape. Basically, when it's pointing to the left of the barrel, it's gonna fire the right barrel, and if it's pointing to the right, vice versa, it's gonna fire the left barrel. Dyslexia kind of kicked in for a second, so I had to kind of remember where I was at. But that's how you select what barrel you want to fire. There is no option to fire both at the same time, which is probably a good thing, because being that it's got a short handle like it does, and again that rigid back end on the trigger, why would you want to abuse yourself like that? I guess, you know, if you want to show yourself being macho or something, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a way that you could swap that piece out and put like a square bottom end to where it would fire both rounds at the same time. I guess that'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't do it unless unless I had the handle a little bit longer and there was some kind of cushion or padding. Other than that, that's basically about it. I mean, you can shoot in either barrel. There's not one barrel different than the other. They're both exactly the same. I know a couple of the Lynette models, they have different size barrels. I know the 22, if I'm not mistaken, the over-under one does it. It has a 22 on the top and a 410 on the bottom, or vice versa, something like that. There's a guy that has a YouTube channel also that has an over-under one. I think it's 22 and a 45. Check it out. It's a good video. That's actually kind of watching that video from that guy, and I can't remember his name for the life of me. I feel bad because of that video, because of that guy, I actually went and looked at these, and that's how I kind of found this one, or this version, and I was like, oh shit, this is really cool, you know, and I went ahead and bought one. Now, Leinad is from the Cobray company. Now, I don't know if a lot of people remember Cobray. I know the older folks that have been shooting for a while, and or a bit older in the 80s that were into guns back then would remember Cobra. They came out with lots of different and cool ideaed weapons and everything. They came out with Uzis. They came out with these. They came out with a pepper box pistol. It's pretty much exactly the same frame, just with the big cylinder, and it went from a 22, a 10-barreled 22 to a 5-barreled 45 410. The poor man's judge is what it was referred to as, and it's basically exact same frame, but the front end, the actual attaching mechanism for the barrel, or it's basically in that case the cylinders, was different, mechanically different, so they could you know, make it work. But basically, you pulled the hammer back, twisted the barrel or the cylinder, which it was the barrel as well, fired your round, and then manually twisted it again. Check out that. It's the you could either look it up as Cobray pepper box pistol, or derringer, or Lynette, which is Daniel backwards. But basically, when Cobra was kind of hitting some rough times, before they went out, they went ahead, or the one who owned it, changed the name of the company to Lynette, and then basically he kind of went for a couple more years under the Lynette name, but it's still Cobray. It was Cobray Leinad, which, if you turn it around, Daniel Cobray. But came out with a bunch of different pistols and everything, and just unique different items that I guess at the time didn't really do well because they were too unique, but now they're just cool collectibles. And if you can get your hands on some, they're worth it. I mean, like I said, it's a fun pistol. Go ahead, and I'm just going to do a quick clean out on it. I don't really break it down per se because it's a lot of different. I mean, you got a couple screws here, or one screw on both sides, or actually it's one side, so let me rephrase that. It's one flathead screw in the handle, it takes the grips off. It also gets to your center here, which takes this out. It's just a big thick piece of plastic that's in the center there that makes up your handle. I mean, it's metal on the outside with a thick plastic on the inside, and then the plastic handles, the grips, which are fairly smooth. They got some instructions on it. This also does have a safety that you kind of have to half cock the pistol. And I kind of forgot to mention that there. This does come with a safety, so they are fairly safe pistols also. But you pull the hammer back just a slight, and you push it out there. I don't know how well you saw that, but that square right there locks the trigger, as well as it locks the gun, so you can't break it open. That's ready to fire, basically, right there. When you have that all the way pushed in, it locks the barrel together, so that way you can fire it safely and it doesn't blow open or anything like that. When you're ready to open it to extract your rounds, you push that. I don't see how well you can see that, but you push that square in after you half cock it. You push it in, and comes back open again. So it does have a safety, and it works really well. I've actually I've done it, I've tried it, and never had any issues, no failures, nothing like that. So like I said, it's all around great weapon. Take it on a boat with you. You know, put it in your glove box, you know, whatever you want to do with it. Hell, take it hunting. I mean, like I said, it's not exactly a long distance weapon, even though it's got an extended barrel, but it's still a fun thing, and you can get some pretty good shots out of it. I mean, you could probably get like a, I was shooting it at 25 yards, and I was hitting the target, so I mean, slightly longer. I'd say maybe guessing you could probably get maybe 40 yards out of it. That's probably giving it too much credit, but still all around good pistol, or derringer shotgun. So if you can get one, I highly suggest picking one up. I'm just looking for the right barrel swab here. And then I'm going to go ahead and give her a good once over. Let's go with that one right there. So basically, if you did want to take it apart, you'd go ahead and you'd take the screw out of here, and you could take, like I said, pretty much the whole handle apart, and then you just have literally the frame. To get to the trigger and the hammer and everything, that's a little bit more complicated per se. There's a punch pin that you can knock out and actually extract the whole barrel, and then from there it's a couple little punch pins holding it together as well. And then of course you can take the foregrip off. That's a hexagon screw, and you can take the foregrip off and do all that. Basically, I'm just going to do a quick clean down on it, because I don't, I shoot it, but it doesn't get that dirty to where I have to take it apart like that. So basically what I do is I just go ahead and I shoot some Remington oil down the barrel. I don't know how well you can see that. Maybe I got that tilted the wrong way. There we go. Basically I just go ahead and, like I said, I just shoot some down, and while that's working its way down, I go ahead and I shoot the trigger, the hammer, and the switch mechanism. One, to help lube it and to get kind of, if there's any kind of gunpowder or dust, or if you dropped it, dirt or whatever that can get in there. But just over time, just letting it sit too long or whatever, not messing with it, lube it up, get some stuff blown out of it, get the trigger guard, the trigger lubed and everything. Once you do that, just go ahead and get the access off. I just give it a good rub down like that, and that's essentially pretty much just kind of work the hammer back and forth just for a little bit, and that's just helping the Remington oil get down in there, break up anything, help lube everything, just gets it down in there deeper. But that's about it for that. I mean, it's got very, very little moving parts. I mean, the inner workings is fairly simple. You got the barrel selector, the hammer, some springs, and the trigger, and that's, of course, your firing pins, but that's about it. I mean, it's not really overly complicated. Once you do that, I got my cotton swab ready. I call them cotton swabs. Get your good length of rod here. That'd probably do it, but I'll go ahead and keep the handle. And I don't go crazy, that's too big, with it or anything like that, but I just go ahead and I like to, too small, good enough, and just kind of scratch the soot out, because you've already dropped the oil down in it, so you just want to take your bristle brush and just kind of easily work it all the way down. You're not trying to scrub the bejesus out of it. You just want to break up anything that's been sitting. And in my case, I shot it a month ago and I haven't cleaned it, and that's my fault. But then again, if I did clean it, I wouldn't be doing this video and showing everybody this beautiful gun. So I guess my laziness and procrastination got you guys something to watch. So there we go. Oh, also, one thing I forgot to mention. All the derringers, whether it be the extended barrels or the original length derringers, are smoothbore. There's no rifling in them. So this whole section of the pistol, of the barrel, is smooth. The only part that's rifled is the extended part here, these two barrels right here. And that's for the benefit of the 45 long Colt. But yeah, other than that, all the derringers come smooth. They're not rifled in any way, shape, or form, except for that little spot. To my knowledge, now let me go ahead and emphasize that, to my knowledge, none of the original barreled derringers are rifled. Now, that said, if a couple of them are, whatever model they be, I apologize, so don't go stringing me up in the comments there. But to my knowledge, most of them are all smoothbore. Only the extended barrels have the rifling. But after you take your wire brush there, you go ahead and just grab the cotton swab as I did, run it through, and I don't see how well you'll see it. Let's see if you can get some light reflected in there, but that's about it, guys. She's clean, she's ready, she's lubed and oiled. She's done. So that's it. That's the Lynette double barrel 11-inch extension Derringer. And as I said, just recap, there is a mod you can get that adds a buttstock to it. And there are, if I'm not mistaken, there are a couple out there that are a little bit longer. I think they're like 16-inch barrels. I don't know if those are mods or if they're just different different extensions that were built that way. I want to say that I saw one. Again, I don't know if it was custom that way or if you could buy them that way. When I went and looked for this, I found just the 11. But when I looked up pictures and I found that mod for the buttstock, I saw a couple where it looked like the barrels were a lot longer. So yeah, I don't know if there's a 16-inch barrel out there or not. I swear I saw one. I'm not quite positive. It's been a while since I bought this. I've had it for almost 2-3 years now. But oh, they also make a single barrel one too. For anybody out there that doesn't like double barrels, they do make a single barrel version of the extended one. Again, also same exact frame, same style, just with or without that mod. I think that buttstock cost like $45. I thought about getting one, but I think this is too damn cool without it. I don't know, maybe later in life I might get one if it hurts my fingers too bad. That buttstock seems like it'd give a lot of that kick to the shoulder, not too much to your fingers. So I don't know, maybe one day. But other than that, guys, that's the double barrel Leinad. Pros, cons, my little quick review on it. As far as the length of the shot that you can take, the distance, that may vary per shooter. I know for me, the best groupings I've got out of it was about 25 yards, and I mean, it wasn't a pretty sight. I mean, you got a shot pattern pretty wide. So, you know, if you're a better shot, it'd probably be a lot better for you. You'd probably get a lot more distance out of it. But to me, 25 yards, I can still hit the target, so I'm happy with that. A lot closer, obviously, a lot better. Depending on the shot shell you use for the 410, obviously, if you use a solid buckshot, birdshot, whatever. So yeah, 45 long Colt. That's what I was using the one day when I was shooting the 25 yards. Like I said, about a shot pattern about that wide, maybe a little wider, but it was still in the target. And they were kind of, you know, all over, so it wasn't a tight shot pattern, but you know, 25 yards still hit the target, wing them, whatever. So yeah, there you go, YouTube. That's the double barrel Leinad, side by side, 11-inch Derringer. Hope you enjoyed, and if you want to see it in action, check out the other video. It's I believe titled "Shooting the Leinad Double Barrel" or "Firing the Leinad Double Barrel." And then you could, of course, see the one video of it being looked at for the first time. Alright, guys, take it easy.